I can hear you. So.
Yeah, Mac, we miss you.
It's been a while.
Right.
Well, I saw Mac at DEF CON.
Yeah, we saw Mac at DEF CON. Alrighty. So with, you ready?
Skazi, he's walking up to the entrance, so
I'll go down and get him. You could
get
start
him?
the. You could. We'll start the meeting.
Okay.
You have the. Here's the clicker. Right.
Okay. And is this a laser? It's a laser.
It's a the middle's the laser.
Okay.
Don't put anyone's eyes out. You know.
I'll try not to.
All right.
Yeah. I tinker
just let
with.
me know once Kazi's downstairs. I'll go over and fetch him.
Yeah, he said. Yeah, he's walking up to the entrance, so he should be. Oh, I'll keep that on side.
All right.
But okay. I'm guessing everyone can hear me on Discord. Cool.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, online and in person. I'm Gio. Welcome to my Warwheeling talk. It's gonna be fun. It's nothing too crazy, but I found a lot of enjoyment in the process of discovering and making something kind of like my own, and also kind of just putting it out there online. And so far, people have kind of vibed with it, and leading me to find another person across the country that does exactly the same thing, oddly enough. So about me, I'm part of DCG 561, DCG 305, and also Hack Miami, and also not to forget the South Florida One Wheel community. By day, SOC IR for Akamai. By night, I'm a one wheel enthusiast. I like going on these group rides here and there, and also, casual, maybe not so casual war driver in between. So let's do a quick, what is a war driving? So you are actively seeking and mapping Wi-Fi networks while in motion, typically using a vehicle. You can war walk, you can war ride, you can war train. It's really, the sky's the limit of what you can do. So the main platform that we upload and view our results is hosted on Wiggle. Wiggle has been around for over, I want to say it's over 20 years. They just had their birthday, which coincidentally lined up with mine. Yeah, like I saw like that on Twitter saying, oh, we just turned, I think, 22 today. And I'm like, bro, I just turned 27. What a coincidence. Honestly, you could war drive alone all you want, but the thing that kind of blew up in South Florida for us was finding each other and just competing against one another. War driving on its own isn't illegal. Just don't be a dumbass and start cracking hashes or taking handshakes and just throwing your own evil twin attacks. Just don't be that guy and make it into a problem. We have fun with it. So what exactly is warwheeling? So warwheeling to me is you're on a one wheel, you are going around town with as many antennas that you can stuff in your bag, and by the end of the night see how many you can get. Why do I prefer this method over the traditional just driving in a car, putting up like a 20-pound antenna with a 60-pound Pelican case in the back, running like a whole computer, a gaming PC in the back? Well, I think the fun is the challenge of, okay, how small can we get this without losing any of the efficiency? So what we have here in front of us are a couple war drivers as examples. So on the right, we have is the Y-Spy. I'm sorry for Discord, by the way. There's no camera, but we'll post pictures in the channel. So this right here is the Y-Spy, which is a revision of the J. Hewitt board that was made by Joseph Hewitt. If you were to purchase your own or even get the Gerber files and print your own from like JLC PCB, you would go to wardriver.uk and you can take it, run with it, just build it exactly as you see here. The case on its own is, so that case right there is was created by Sulu down in front right here. It's really nice. one for the aesthetics, but also for temperature control. Then we have, other friends of ours in the community, like Agent 47, where he builds and sells them online, and they're much more robust. They're a bit thicker of a case. And a lot of the guys on Twitter, like in that InfoSec Twitter circle, they do their own revisions. They upload and have different modifications where you're getting antennas, like you're putting magnets on top of your car, so you're getting the signal from the outside. It's about to die. And so where you can start is really all you need is an Android phone. You go to Google Play and you just download the Wiggle app. You got people riding bikes and they have like 4 or 5 Androids running and chugging along, just signed in, and then at the end of the route when you're back on Wi-Fi, you upload and then boom, you get your points that way. Once you start getting into the theory of going beyond just the app, that's where you start going and checking out these PCBs. So this red one, the red one right here, is literally this but without the face, and just easier to kind of look around. Also kind of just bring it around.
Okay, if we take pictures of this view?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and so what John has in his hands, that's a very basic version without having to solder anything together. It's just a Raspberry Pi with a Wi-Fi antenna, and you can also plug in a GPS module, which is just a little USB thumbstick. And then you have guys getting more creative and shrinking the tech itself. And this right here is called a DNS drive-by, created by Alex Lind of Hack5. There's different versions of the software for that one board to where you're just running it as a typical Ward driver where it has GPS lock, it's checking for 2.5 gigahertz Wi-Fi signals and just making a note and saving it to your SD card. But what makes the DNS drive-by, drive-by is having the data exfiltration become more seamless. What I mean by that is whenever you're going around and you find free Wi-Fi networks, odds are they're not going to be easily accessible. It's more like, Comcast or Xfinity where you need to sign in, sign in with your account and then validate the dates against that, and then you can, proceed. With the DNS drive-by, it kind of exploits the little flaw in the DNS because no matter what, it still needs to connect outwards. It's just able to kind of just sneak its way through that and just upload the data as you go along. And so what I would like to do in my, adventures of Warwheeling is eventually build my own revision of like a Ward driver, have it be the Warwheeler, and then just as you're going along the town, just upload more and more without having to stop to, check to see if it's still running or check to see if it needs to upload before the SD card fills. It's just automatically purge, upload, repeat.
I don't want to steal your thunder if you're going to get into it, but will you talk about what you're doing with GPS in this one and cellular on the other?
So there are mods where you can have the WiSpy that's in the case, it's floating around over there. It has a little module for cellular where you can put an SD card, but with the current software, I don't see it able to just upload automatically. I believe there may be guys out there that have already figured that problem out. I'm still at just kind of the hobbyist level of I am figuring out ways, kind of just having fun and then learning along the way. But I think that would be an excellent way of just also automating the process and not having to, stop and check every 30 seconds.
When it comes to license cellular like that, I'd imagine it's mostly just used to upload whatever it's figuring out on Wi-Fi.
Yes.
I was at DEF CON a few years ago, and there's a guy who's a former Fed who's was at the wireless hacking village,
Mm-hmm.
and there's someone being let out in handcuffs, and it was because they were messing with for LTE in the village, and the only person that could have detected them, like at the time we went out here, would have been this former Fed. So people probably had an idea that he was probably the one that ratted on the folks. But like, I don't want someone intercepting my phone's data, so it's a tough situation. But yeah, don't mess with licensed cellular unless you really know how to not get caught.
Yeah, no, that I have immense respect for the ham radio, ham radios and broadcasting, because that to me is still in that realm of black magic where it's indistinguishable for me from science, like at this moment, because like I believe there's Wi-Fi out there, but how we can't like actually touch it but just trust all these little like antennas to just do the work for us is incredible. I've also heard at DEF CON where you get some punks trying to just do Wi-Fi jammers in the middle of their hotel rooms, just thinking like, oh, no one's gonna know it's me. It turns out that the casinos have really good signals intelligence to where it just triangulates to the exact room and they just bust down the doors, no questions asked. But throughout DEF CON and in and out of the casinos, but Zulu and I, we were just running around with our war drivers in our backpack, just participating in like fox hunts. We were just collecting, and we're not like, everything has been read only. We're not messing with what is already existing. Then a month later, they a casino in the area got ransomware, and just coincidence.
For some of the folks that do like prox card hacking and some of the stuff, if they have an implant or something they're gonna leave behind, I've heard that they'll use GSM SIM card even if there's no data or low data, because they can have very accurate timestamps for some of what they're doing. And then I guess, I don't think it goes above the head technically, but maybe if there's some of the authentication, if it's off by even a couple of seconds time-wise, then it messes up the attack, I think, with some of the procs. RFID stuff.
That I'm not too well versed in. I would like to learn more. After the talk, see what we can do either here.
Yeah, or like Flipper Zero territory, maybe use some of that.
Proxmark.
All right. You may be asking, why do any of this at all? Why go through the trouble of one-wheeling when bicycles exist? You can walk, you can ride. Again, it's the challenge. It's what you can fit in your pockets. That makes it the fun. But also, earlier this year, I bought my first one-wheel in March. And then I realized, wait a minute, I live in a downtown metro area. I can go through all these alleys and no one would question why there's a guy on one wheel, because one, he's going just fast enough where it's kind of awkward to say, hey, stop what you're doing, because they're already gone. By the time a security guard tries to talk to me, or a car is trying to follow me, you just go through a bunch of alleys and then you're free. But also, you can, in a way, squeeze the most out of the area without having to put too much money into it. Antennas on their own, pretty cheap, but multiple antennas for their own specific use can slowly start adding up costs, which in this range right here altogether, I don't know, cost of Raspberry Pi, now it's what, $30-$40, maybe more. The antenna and the power bank, we're underneath the $50 mark. And if you buy your own PCB and then you buy your own parts and you mass produce it, you can make it cheaper. I bought the red PCB that is floating around somewhere. Yeah, I bought a whole stack of those PCBs for $6, and it was 20 count from JLC PCB, just because it came from China. It took maybe 4 days.
Is it possible that the card slot's 2G and it's obsolete? Yeah, that's why. It's just paperweights because all these networks are decommissioned 2G and even 3G now.
So,
But it doesn't do LTE then.
You jump
created, the guy that actually is writing a lot of this project is in the Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually surprisingly still have 2G networks out.
Yeah, there's like a government mandate for certain.
So we'll still pick up
Almost
some
forgot I
stuff.
had this.
Oh my gosh,
But it
that's
doesn't have 4G. Okay, that makes sense. That's
We're working on it. I'm working on it. But it's not there yet.
But why there's the stacks of these sitting around in the factory?
Yeah. So speaking about obsolete, I almost forgot. I brought this thing with me. So this is a revision of a revision. This is called the Wi-Fi draw, created by Lo Zanning on Twitter. He's also part of the RF Village. Groups, but wardriving on its own and then building and having your own spin to it, I don't know. Everyone just likes it because it's like, how do you make a 20-year-old like hobby new again? And that's where you get like the freshman class in here. You get these kids, let them loose, foaming at the mouth, developing new cases, new I don't know, techniques, and from it, I got more fun stuff I want to show.
so this holds 16 ESP32 chips.
Yes. Really, you only need 14 of them. I remember correctly, they just added the additional 2 for, I think, 5 gigahertz. But I still need time and research to put all that together. This project right here is also open source with their project files, the Gerber files too, so you can go and also just print them out, similar to the original. But here, this slide, it's what you can word drive with, and just showing what my rig kind of looks like.
You soldered this?
Yes.
All right.
All right, I got the approval. So yeah, so the Android. It's hard to make out, but that's an Alcatel. Yeah, what's up, Austin? That's an Alcatel. I would carry it in like either the, fanny pack here, and just put it, around my back, so it's not kind of obfuscated by like the thick backpack. Then if I really want to go try hard, that's where I break out the laptop. I put in the GPS on the dongle, and then I have the Wi-Fi with the battery bank, all just loaded up in the backpack. And during the ward drive competition that happened this past July, all in the same month, I got about 190,000 net new devices added to like my scoreboard. But of course, we'll get to that actually. Just some more photos. So in the left, this was like my trek over to Miami for the first time, just to see the city. In the middle here, this is actually off of the national park by Fort Lauderdale. That's the Birch State Park. Also, not for nothing, when you're make it worse, just going outside, you touch grass, you get fresh air. Like, I'm so happy all of a sudden, and it's like, we need to go outside. But also, I bring a little bit of work with me, because it's like, all right, how many signals did I pull this time? Oh, wow. And then you kind of start thinking of how to optimize your routes, and you start thinking about the theory of going down, like, roads or neighborhoods, just like doing zigzags, but this is actually over where Zulu. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Miami soccer.
What is the dome? No.
No.
Sure, let's go with that. Love Depot Park or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's the baseball stadium.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, with my ward driver, I never bothered to solder, or not solder, to glue the little LCD screen. So for the whole entire time, I was just breaking every couple of rides, and it's like, how do I fix this? It's like, oh, I need to put some tape on it and just put it down. It's like, it has a little bit of charm to it. And when I'm driving and I have the phone mount, I can just tilt it, in a way, and I can just see feature. So this is a fun story. This is my South Florida one-wheel crew. These guys are awesome. They don't care what time of day it is. They don't, care what's going on, in their lives. They eat, breathe, and sleep a one-wheel. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but there's one-wheel festivals that happen throughout the year. As often as security conferences are throughout the year, there is a one-wheel group ride happening in your local city. And when I discovered this, it's like, holy shit. So you guys meet up every Tuesday? It's like, yeah, because it's Taco Tuesday. And this is where, it's like,
It's
wait,
the law.
It's the law. Taco Tuesday is one wheels. And from it, we literally take rides through Las Olas. If, we were still working in the office daily, I would have been just ripping it up and down the street. But, before I broke my collarbone 2 weeks ago.
With your one wheel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's another story.
I'm glad there's helmets in this picture. It's not so popular in South Florida. That's admirable.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
Because we get reckless on these group rides. We are rolling 16, 20 people deep in crowds. So in a way, we kind of have that antibody effect where if we stay together, we can technically blow through many red lights, and cars kind of have to stop for us. So why I think the one-wheel / war driving counterculture works together really well, it's because you have a bunch of skate punks that like to just do whatever they want, but then you have war drivers that just like to do whatever they want, collecting signals, and then it breeds, innovation. It's fun. And over time, of course, I told these guys what I'm doing, and they're like, bro, that's so cool. What? Yeah, because it's at first I'm like, let me see if I can. Well,
You got to put a picture of the guy from Hackers. Forgot his name. Shit.
this ride. So this ride that we see pictured here, of course we took the Bright Line. The day started out great. However, within the first 2 miles, out of nowhere, we just get hit with a little tropical storm, and it was just washing everything out, and we were just hiding underneath the little shack. Over time, everyone started kind of bailing because they don't want to get their wind wheels wet. They're afraid of it breaking. But not maybe another 30 minutes is all sort of. And what better way to have a goal at the end than to meet up with Zulu? This was the day. Brickle. And it was raining in between there. We had to charge, we had to stop at a Starbucks halfway and definitely charge up. Are hardware hackers, but they don't know about it. Future Motion is a company that owns One Wheels and the patents, but yes, he is me, bro.
This guy.
Yeah, I did start thinking about maybe rollerblading too, well warwheeling, but that's another story. Future Motion is pulling an Apple right now and are sending out updates to upgrade the firmware of the boards. to have restrictions to slow it down and cap it like around 20 miles per hour. Before, the latest board was the GT, and you were able to roll it to 25 miles to 30 miles comfortably if you're like a lighter weight. But now they had these lawsuits going on, and so they had to restrict the board. So now it's like, oh, if you're pushing it too much, the board vibrates and starts. We have the float wheel. We have fungineers out here creating like these boards that are slowly taking out the first party hardware, where you control the board to where if you take off the fender, which is the plastic part that covers the top part, you would be able to do like a kickflip on the one wheel, so now you can ride it upside down. Or sorry, come out the box is zero. Like you can just turn it on, roll on it, do some drops, do some rail grinds, and that's it. But the new with the new upgrades to the boards that you can do on your own, you really don't have any limitation from there.
The limitation you're talking about though is that it's pushed out OTA over Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And so there's no cellular on those.
No, there's no cell.
And then have you messed with, like, is there jailbreaking of sorts or rolling?
The wheel is called rewheeling.
Huh.
It's
anything to do with the color of the fender on there?
No. Yeah, the color fender, nah, that's all style points. By rewheeling the board, you're kind of like unleashing. Rewheeling.
Oh, I think you said green wheeling, so I'm thinking like, oh, this is a hardware hacker, and they put the green to represent.
Oh no,
they hack their board.
My bad. No, rewheel. It's like you're just taking over the firmware, and from there you're able to use a third-party app on your phone, whether it's Android or iPhone. There's the standard one, like with my board. Here is the XR. My nephews had a one wheel. I just now leave my pint at my parents' house like all the time, and since they're crashing there for now with their parents, in the afternoons they're just running around like in the golf course, just riding on the one wheel. I think I have a photo.
These really are the hoverboards that Back to the Future promised us.
This is the hoverboards Back to the
This is what we
Future.
got
This is still
from
pretty
what
good.
we were promised. This is what we got from what we were promised. No complaints. Work
Yeah.
in progress. Like
Unfortunately, they can't go in water just yet. You in a way you take the enclosure of the battery, you put it in a new one, and then you kind of just get a goo that you pour over all exposed electronics, and once it hardens, it's like, all right, you can splash water on it, and it's not going to short out on you.
Will you take yours on a beach?
What's up?
Will you
Beach. I wouldn't do like the soft loomy sand, but there's Miami beaches where it's like hard compact, and that's like the bread and butter. That's the best terrain to go through because it's just
Does anyone
it's soft.
give you trouble for being on the beach? I've always wondered if I could rent an e-bike and ride that on the sand of the beach.
I would.
It seems like it's like still like a gray area loophole maybe.
It is
But
a
if you're actually riding a bike, then it might be e-bike.
yeah.
You could.
You
Just as you walk onto the beach, it's really hard. That's where they ride the
I mean, like
ATVs.
right along the water. I wonder
Oh, along
if
the
you're-
water.
if you're
along
working-
the water.
Before you go
Maybe.
like on the
along.
For,
Not literally in the water,
I
but
don't know, I
like
got
by
it.
the.
With the tire kind of.
For the
I don't know. That's why I didn't want to buy any, but I wanted to rent any.
for the bike, if the tires is too narrow, it's gonna dig into the sand.
Yeah, you need those big bike tires.
Yeah, because if the tire is too narrow, it's gonna dig into the sand.
Yeah, well, I think like a fat tire e-bike. I don't know if there's any better.
Maybe.
I'll report back when I find out.
Let's go. Yeah. Like on Instagram, like on my friends' stories, that's where they post their rides when they're on the sand. So over the last year, I've noticed West Palm Beach is getting a lot more stingy about one wheels. Like, so far we're safe on the street, but off of Flagler, which is where like the main marina is, where you would go for Sunfest, they started putting more passive aggressive signs saying like no motorized vehicles on the sidewalk, and it's like, why can't we have fun? Like,
I find that the rules pretty much match up with like Lime scooters, or that you still have some exemptions that where they prevent you from using a scooter, but you could do it one wheel.
In a way, it's like I don't want to compare a Lime scooter to a one wheel because
restriction wise, like in different cities or different parts of cities have banned Lime scooters.
I think it's good to ban Lime scooters because it's icky. I'm kidding. Because you're basically littering streets with like scooters, and half the time people are just either stealing them or they're just kind of tossing them. Versus a one wheel, like you're in and out, and you leave no trace really.
South Park did a documentary
On Lime scooters?
I mean, it's silly when I say documentary, but
They did a documentary on everything
the scooters episode.
I've been missing on my one wheel, or the. Where's the airport? There was a planes. I wanted to show.
What? You were on the runway?
we were like as close to to the runway you can physically get to.
Oh yeah, I know that part.
I'm going crazy. I just saw it on there. Oh, okay, we're getting there.
There it is.
Yeah. So in this video, it's From here is an example of like how close we got to the tarmac. We were just rolling through, and from it, we just got to see airplanes in their hangars where they sleep at night.
I think that's Lejeune.
American Airlines.
It looks like the Lejeune Road.
Well, I don't know.
That was the east side of the airport, I think. So.
Yeah, it was more west here.
That side? That's the side where I think that's the side where the hangar is. Around here. Or maybe it could be back there.
Oh, yeah. No, we did go through that part. Okay. Let me leave this. Oh, yeah, all that's Las Olas with us.
Nice.
Okay.
So what is this wiggle?
Okay.
In there?
All right. So what we got here next. I'm gonna bring this back to wiggle and wardriving. What we have here is the first worldwide ward drive results. At this time, you have very few people actually like playing, and from it altogether, just under 10,000 total access points were found in their first run. During this time, they maybe like played for a couple hours, but from there, it was its own success because it brought awareness to the immediate community of we're collecting and just documenting to see like how many either like networks that are just left wide open were, and just default SSIDs, and it's like in a way just your own hygiene kind of on display. This year, almost 20 years. So the screenshot was from 2002. 21 years after the first worldwide war drive is the contest. Oh, this is where I need my notes. So being my first year just war driving and warwheeling in general, I thought I did pretty good. But altogether as a group, there were over 178 participants in this competition. And in total, we altogether, over 5,688,000 new Wi-Fi's were discovered during a 6-day period. From it,
when you say new, right, you know how there's like this Skyhook and other stuff back when I was more in the IoT devices world years ago?
Mhm.
You could take a database of SSIDs, there'd be like a tape service that would go around. They would have like more sophisticated, accurate GPS on the back of a car, let's say, equivalent of like the rig you see on like a Google Street View car.
yeah.
And then very precisely map the location of a fixed SSID. So then for assisted services, like if you don't have a good GPS signal, urban canyon scenario in downtown New York City or down here, that it would then read the SSID, I assume the MAC address or just the SSID, and then correlate that with the database's location, and then enhance it. It's like a GPS, right? Enhance. So when you say these are new, are they new not in such databases as well, or new just to the open source community database?
They are net new, discovered, and uploaded onto the Wiggle platform.
Okay.
From it, I wonder if they had in this.
Because I think at the time they were
Yeah.
proprietary databases, you had to pay for it. I was building GPS devices years ago, like asset tracking devices, and I always wondered if there would be an open source version, even for commercial use, where just like OpenStreetMaps, the same kind of idea, that would be correlated for these data points. And I guess this is kind of that.
Yes. So this is open source. There's no cost or barrier to entry to be able to use the Wiggle site to look up your own SSID or to see.
But does it
if
show
you're trying-
lat long as far as location?
It does.
Cool.
The other, sorry, I don't mean to jump in,
Go for
but
it.
similar to what you were mentioning, there is, we were talking about Arsh about this a little bit. When you see it the first time, right, it's gonna ping it exactly where your location is. The second time when you see that same access point, it's gonna move it to some function between the last point that it was identified and where you were. So basically it's trying to average out every time that it's seen to try to actually get it more accurate to the actual location. And they didn't reveal 100% of what's going on the back end, but I think that also signal strength is a factor of it.
Sure.
Which should
So you're
help.
triangulating with
Exactly.
You dial 911 in this building right now and GPS isn't
Yeah.
working in your phone, they're gonna find it.
So,
Oh,
But altitude is over now.
well, that's where we get
Yeah.
more flying.
So-
You call 911 and they see that you're in like that high rise over there and you can't talk or something.
Yeah.
For them to figure out which floor is still a difficulty.
Take an hour.
To work against the 911 or something.
So- Zulu, I have something to add on to that.
Yeah.
So during the worldwide war drive, the way how the order that you see here isn't exactly the order you may think. It's not whoever finds the most Wi-Fi in your selected region would win, because then it would put people in like a city like this at an unfair advantage to somebody that may live out in the boonies. The way how they did the calculation was your new Wi-Fi to new Wi-Fi ratio. You had anywhere between I think 40 kilometers squared to 100 kilometers to pick from in your perimeter, and your task really was to find as many of your foxes as you could. So depending on the density of existing Wi-Fi networks versus your size would determine how many foxes you had. A fox is a very special SSID that Wiggle has determined as, yo, this is real. It's not somebody that just created a spreadsheet and tried to falsify the data. It has been seen in the area. So in my ratio, well, as you can see here, I was in 32nd place. found only like 3/4 of my boxes, it didn't mean that I didn't try hard enough. It was because of the averages that somebody was like ward driving in a certain direction. You could actually pull the foxes out of your own zone. I have a screenshot to show here. So what we see here was my perimeter during the competition. It's very light green, so it's kind of hard, but all the way from just south of Lake Worth to north of like downtown West Palm was the area that I was kind of tasked with running the foxes. Of the 6, I was able to find them in the dense cloud here, and like 4 here, and then 4 down in Lake Worth. But at the end of the competition, I wanted to go talk to ARC, which is the developer of Wibble, and I was saying, hey man, what's going on? Like, what's the deal? Can you now the competition's over, can you tell me where I missed the foxes? Because I was going crazy, like driving, like the last 12 hours, I was just out at middle of the night, just kind of like driving to see, all right, I'm uploading frequently, I'm seeing if I can get the last one, just because I wanted to, end it on a high note, like on a 1, because once you do that, it means you found all these foxes, and any other Wi-Fi is just kind of gravy. But to be incomplete, it makes me feel like, damn, I could have done better, or I should have tried harder. Well, it turns out 2 of the foxes were kind of pulled really far away up towards Jacksonville and Melbourne. So no matter how hard I tried, it was never gonna be seen in this perimeter to count for me. And so, yeah, that's the funny part where I realized if you really want to troll people that if they're in a certain area, you can technically just drive by, where they would war drive, and see if you can pull the APs out of the way. Or even, I'm thinking like you can broadcast your own like hotspot in a certain area, and if they catch it, you just kind of bring that with you home or something.
Do you see some APs moving around, like, let's say, even in a vehicle that has a hotspot, a consumer vehicle, not even a B2B thing? You find them like, okay, this one is in this town, and then the next time it's in this city?
Yeah. When you're on the road, you will see a lot of BMWs, Honda, like hotspots, like on the road. I don't really look at the data, like that deep, to see like, okay, let me try to put a name to the face, or.
But when you're mapping, is it generally, when you talk about, say, to validate one, that multiple people are passing by it and logging that this wasn't falsified data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
I don't know. I think, like, that's the part of, like, that's the magic of Wiggle. The developers don't really tell us exactly how it's all validated, because then it gives ammunition to people that want to, like, cheat in these kind of competitions on what to avoid. Like, oh, this is what a suspicious, upload looks like versus something genuine. It's taking all like the speed of the GPS of the phone, the angle of the phone itself, and it's using all of that to kind of like validate, like, okay, yeah, it's not like a single upload kind of just going through. It's a little bit more than that. But I also heard from like the RF Village, like if you really want to like sit in one spot and just saturate like the map, you can technically just put a war driver near like a bridge of a highway and just get people rolling through you, so you don't have to like put in that much effort. Yeah, when I heard about that, I'm like, that's genius. You just find all the bridges you can, and just put a little antenna there, and boom. Okay. So here are just resources for anyone that would like to read more into about Wiggle, to check out the first Worldwide War Drive talk by the late Romer. The start of Worldwide War Drive only lasted for 4 years, and each competition that passed, more and more people were excited to get involved, because it was something that they were able to do at their home. It wasn't just confined to where it started, it was slowly just, going global. And then now with, the RF Sanctuary hosting the Worldwide War Drive, you got people in all continents just doing their own thing in their own cities. Sure, you might be, by yourself in one continent, but you can still see kind of the theory is being applied of, either you're running around with a bunch of phones, or you learn how to solder and upload, your code to your Arduino, and then you start to, really start tinkering and get more involved. I would like to leave on a funny note of my favorite meme. Oh, sorry. Brian, we need to talk. That doesn't sound too good. It's not. We really, dude, can't keep one-wheeling away from your problems. But he totally could, and it was awesome. If you guys would like to reach out and stay connected or follow me on my shenanigans, I'm, Riot Control on all major platforms. I'm more active on Instagram than everything else, but yeah.
Yeah, if you definitely want to step outside and get some fresh air, he's the guy to contact.